This is like a first training session for us this year, like it's a basic one. We are going to have one for the intermediate and advanced programming and those stuff later in months. So I'm going to start with the basic product knowledge first. If you have any questions, stop me and ask me, so we can cover them up, or I can discuss that later with you. We can go from there, right? Okay, so I'm going to start from this side of the wall, so it covers like the full products. Then I'll show you there are some products on the other side too, on our regular factory tour, like I said. Okay. So the first one you're gonna see is like we'll start from the wall where we have a pocket. So it's a hang enclosure. So what's like when you have a pocket like when they're pre-constructing the building, we can make it a one blind or two shade. So this one is a two blind inside the pocket where we have the hang enclosure cover. So it's like two blinds coming out of the pocket and it's concealed, so you don't see anything. But it has to be pre-construction stage almost. Otherwise, you have to make the pocket after the fact. So we have two blinds inside, and they're really big. You can see, so we can go wider shades too. One blind is like where it's like a non-RTS motor. What that means is like the people who use like no radio frequencies or remote control. They don't want it. They want to go old school, like where they just press the switch and it just works the blind. It's all the wired coded switch stuff. So it's not like, so this like the first blind you can see like it's coming. It's multi-banded. What that means is like one motor running both blinds. So like you're trying to reduce cost there like for the second motor and you're covering both the spans. And it's covered with a side channel where it blocks the light that you can use in bedrooms, other places where you want dark. And the front blind is over there. Those are like SNES 50 motor, which is a line voltage motor. It can be like plugged in or ran wire from the electrician. Both works. Scenarios. Am I going too fast? Okay. So that's the duo shade in a pocket. So it's like a enclosed in a pocket, right? So there's a balance which is like put externally to cover the blinds coming out, so it looks nicer. And there is sometimes when they leave the drywall unfinished, like in the corners, we have an optional cover which covers the drywall screw up, put it that way. So that's that cover. When I walk you, I'll show you the product you can see closer. If you have questions, like just make a note. We'll walk through that. So that's the dual shade you see in the first. Second, you have a vision blind, where you see one vision blind, which is a manual operator. On the other side is a black color one, and this is a motorized one. This is the Ultra motor, so it will be quieter than the other one which you just heard. And Vision is our own product, it's Sunwell's product. Like we do manual and motorized, and we can do Neos as well. When you say Neo, it's like a spring system where you pull it and leave it, it just goes by itself. I have another new spring system which is called Zero Gravity. I'll get into it. But this is the Ultra motor, so it's quieter, even though it's a big shade. That's the difference. You have the regular motor and the Ultra motor. I'll run the regular motor one more time. So you can hear some sound on the regular motor, and Ultra is quieter. Obviously, it's a little bit more pricey for the Ultra point of it. But those are the two shades you see here. Next, on the wall, we have a compact cassette, which is like our smallest cassette we offer. You can wrap the cassette or you can leave it unwrapped. So one is a metallized porch. We have 4 colors. And we can wrap the same fabric what you're doing on the blind. So that's a nicer feature for the residential area when you cover it. The 2 motors I got here is like one is Ultra motor. Again, it's a SNES 30, so it's a battery operated motor. You can do like a certain sizes. When we walk in online, we'll show you like when you enter it online and the size is big, it won't offer you that motor. So whatever it's able to do, it'll show you there. Otherwise, it won't show you there. The one here is like it's a smallest motor what's on got R28. It's a small motor. That's why there's an external battery pack on top because the motor is too small to have a battery in it. So I'm going to run. So that's the Ultra SNES 30 motor. It's a wire-free motor. This is R28. So you can hear like a little bit louder noise than when you compare to the other one, but obviously like it's a cheaper version and it's an excellent battery pack. Usually when they use that is like when you have a narrow windows or like near the doors or anything like that. Sorry. Hey Sam. Hi.
So you said,
Yeah.
so with the compact ones,
Yeah.
they're the narrowest ones in terms of how far back?
The compact has less damage to do that. When I said narrow blinds, it's mainly for the motor, because this motor can go up to like 18-inch blind. So it's like when you have 18-inch blind, you can put a motor in it. Like not a lot of motor can fit in the small blinds. Like that's why. So when I have a Student Study wire-free motor, that one your blind has to be at least 27 inches, because the motor itself is this big. So I can't put a smaller blind. That's why you have a external battery pack. I do have another one in our version, which is the Sun Low, which you can see here, with the external battery pack. Those can go up to a 15 and 3/4 inch blind. So it's like this size blind, you can put a motor in it. When you see like the side lights near the door or like the windows like that, you can put a motorized blind. Those are the compact ones. We have a bigger version of this, which is called the curved cassette, which you can see here or here, like these ones. So it's same concept, like you can not wrap it, or you can wrap it with the same fabric that we're doing. These ones you can see it's an illusion blind. So we wrap it with a solid fabric, not the same fabric, obviously. We can't wrap this fabric in there. So those are the two motors you have there. So these motors, when I say like wire-free, battery operated, when you charge them, it will last you roughly like 300 cycles. That's what we want to say. Which is like if you use one time a day, like you're almost looking at almost a year. Like you don't have to charge again. So which is a good time. When I say that, like initially when we get the blind, there are some factors which involve, like we charge it fully here, then we program it, then we give it to you, you adjust the programming, whatever that is, then initially when you get a new blind, you run it more than once a day. So the first cycle will not be 300, but after you charge once, then it should last you the 300 cycles every second. So those are those two. I'll enter the first one in the cubbies. Like the first one we have here is like a Roman shade, which we do. There are changes we made with what Romans from us before, we don't know. So because of the card restrictions, we are having a different mechanism where if something gets forced in, this will unclip it. It won't like you can't dangle it in or those stuff. We're still looking to improve more, but this is what we're offering right now at the moment. The motor you got in there is it's a Sunglow motor, mini motor, like I said. It can go up to 15 and 3/4 inch, which is like the smallest motorized blind we can make. And I'm sure like that's probably the smallest out in the market, I'm guessing. For the roller blinds or the Romans, like the other tubular motors are smaller. I can run this one. So you can hear the sound, like that's the sound you can do, like see it's closer to like these guys, but you have like the other version which is like closer to these guys too. Which has a slow stop and slow stop, so it has a smooth finishing on both the ends. So the second one you have is interlude blind. So this is illusion, this is an interlude. There's two different styles we do. Other people may refer as zebra and silhouette, right? To call them. So the interlude blinds, like I said, interlude we can do it in a cassette, either a compact cassette or like a curved cassette, not other cassettes, because there are other problems we have. Like so, this back layer has to be attached to a cassette, right? So that's why like you can do only in a cassette base. So if it's a small cassette or big cassette, you can do in both. The interlude version. So that's like so the Sunglow motors now, like you have speed adjustments in them. So you can go up to like 3 speeds, like up. So when you get the motor, it'll be in the middle speed. So you can increase one or decrease one. When you do that, is like when you have multiple blinds like side by side, and one is going a little bit slower because it's a heavier blind, then you adjust the speed so make it like all go together. That's one way. Second is like when you're using the blind, like say it's running out of charge or low on charge, the blind will go a little bit slower than what you used to see before. That means like there's two ways you can find when you have to charge. One is going too slow. Two, it'll beep at you, like so when you try to operate the blind, it'll beep 10 times. Like, that's the indication when you have to charge the motor, like the Sunglow motors. So any questions so far?
You said the narrowest for the Sungo is 15 inches, and was it 27 for the SMEs?
Correct. So 15 and 3/4 to be exact
Okay.
for the mini motors. For the Sunnis 30 ultra motors are 27. The regular Sunnis 30 is a little bit smaller. I think 26 or 25. Yeah.
So on an external battery, how close to the line does the battery pack have to be, or can it be?
The wire it comes with it is like roughly less than shy of 2 feet. So you can go as far as the wire comes. That's about you can get to. But there is external extrinsic cables we have, so you can run it lower. I've seen people run a wire from here to the bottom of the window, so they don't have to climb up to charge the motor. They can charge in the bottom. You can do that too, but you run the wire across the mullion or something, but you will see the wire like forever. But it'll be easy for you to charge here rather than going up to the window. Did I answer your
I
question?
don't want to be the only one asking.
No, that's fine.
On the Cities 30,
Yes.
to charge the battery there, that's an internal motor, is that correct? So
Correct. So the
what's
battery is
process?
inside the tubular itself.
What's the process for charging those batteries?
So it's like same as a phone charger. Like you plug it in, like there's a small pixel coming out. Like this will be attached to the cassette, so it'll be like this, 6 inches. You plug it here, 3 to 4 hours. It'll full charge it. The charger will have an LED light, which will show you a green light or a red light. So if it's red, like it's still charging. When it's green, it's fully charged. You can unplug it. It roughly takes 3 to 4 hours. That's the timeline you're looking at. What I tell people, like when you're trying to like sell, is like don't leave more than one overnight. So if you're trying to plug at night and next day morning unplug it, the longer you keep the charger in after it's charged, you're trying to kill the battery faster. That's what happened. So when you leave it plugged in for like a month, your battery life goes like low. So it won't last you like the life cycle is supposed to last you. Same thing. So like 8 hours or 10 hours, like try to be the max. Don't overcharge the motor. And sorry.
What are the warranties on the battery?
So for what we do is we do motor and battery pack both 5 years warranty. Same, like try to use the same chargers because even though like a lot of our motors are coming with the Type C, which is the same you use in most of the equipment in the house, try not to cross use the chargers because the amperage might be different or like it might kill the battery again. So we do have these motors. We do have an 8 feet or 9 feet, 8.5 feet, I think. The cable, external cable, which you can attach and connect to the bottom of your window too, if you want to. Or if it's like reciprocal is not nearby after 1 extension cable, you can buy like it's 8 feet cable, sold separately. I'm gonna go to the next one. This is the Illusion one. So this one is a manual operated right now, but you can do manual chain operated or you can do motorized. Those are only 2 options you have available in the Illusions. There's no other operating systems available other than those 2. The one you have here is chained with the safety shield. People got the safety shield now. Okay. So our safety shield is like there's 2 white and black colors, only plastic. You can use on a metal chain or a plastic chain, it doesn't matter. You can use it with a stop ball, it goes through still. You can use it with a connector, it'll go through still, like it won't stop you. The only thing is you remember like when you attach this to the bottom, like try not to be like too taut in the bottom. If that's so, then like the stop ball will be hard to go through with. So leave a little bit slack. You can see like it's not like too loose or too tight. Leave a little bit slack so it's easier to run it through to the bottom channel. Every blind, other than it's a commercial job, we're sending out blinds with a safety shield. Where it comes with the connector piece, you can see here, where you can lift it and attach the screw to it. So you don't have to lift the safety shield every time to operate the blind. So if this one, like say, you lift it like this, then you use the blind, right? So you don't have to do it if you attach to a screw like this, then it's easier. And sometimes when you have a chain to the floor, almost like a patio door or something you're doing, you have to go all the way down or all the way up. You can have a multiple pieces and use a connector and just screw it in. So you can use a chest height like to operate the blind. You don't have to bend down or bend like go up. But if you want a multiple piece or different size, you have to mention it when you order it. But if not, it's usual standard like 8 minus 10. That'll be roughly the chain size, closer. like. Any questions on the safety shield?
This is only residential. not-
Correct, not on commercial jobs, only on residential jobs, where the law has to be followed. The commercial jobs, we're still using the P clip, which is like a scissor press, you mount it to the bottom, use the chain, which I have on the corner, I'll show you that. So, interlude, I can do all three options. One is a chain operated, motorized, or a zero gravity, which I'm going to the next one soon. This one is only chain and motorized, no zero gravity available. So, when you measure, or installer measures, for the interlude and illusions, important thing is you have to measure the exact height. The reason I tell you that is like we make it to the exact height what you give me, which means like when the bottom bar touches the sill, the blind will be in a closed position. But if the height is not given exactly, that means it may not be closing exactly, it might be a little bit off, then you have to readjust a few things. Same with illusion, because when you go to the bottom, it has to open up like this, then you close it, the bottom bar should touch the sill. Like that's why we need the exact height on the windows. Same goes to the side channel too. The reason is like, as far as I know, like I measured it, left and right of the window is never the same. So you have to measure both side heights and give us separately if you want side channel specifically. Because if I give you the same height, then it might be a little bit short on one side, then you're still getting light through. So you have to give me the exact height on left and right if you're doing side channel. This one, it's so the fascia blind. So we saw the small cassette and big cassette was a compact and curved cassette. Now we're moving to fascia, which is like a 3-inch fascia. 3-inch fascia is not wrappable at the moment, so it's only a exposed metal option. Where on the 4-inch fascia, I do have a wrapped option where you can see it here. This is a 4-inch fascia. I can leave it exposed or I can wrap the fabric in it. The 3-inch, we are looking to wrap it. It's not available yet. It's only exposed metal. Again, right now we offer 5 colors, which is white, anodized, black, brown, and linen. We're trying to eliminate brown. So it'll be 4 colors going forward, which is like white, black, anodized, and linen. Those colors going to be there. So it's exposed metal. But the bottom bar, so we have IQ bar, it's our special bar, like what we use most of the jobs, where you can wrap it or leave it exposed. Well, same goes there. So you can leave it exposed like this, it's not wrapped. Even though the cassette is wrapped, you can leave it exposed, or you can wrap both so it matches all together from the top to bottom. You can do either one. So that's here, with the safety shield again, like same, you can lock it like this or you can leave it open. But we recommend to put the screw on both scenarios, so it's not like dangling around, people will play with. But if you want to like say, modify something or edit something, it's really easy to take it out and put it back in. It's usually like that's all you have to do, like just like it usually comes out like that. That's easy. But when you put the screw in, like you can't take it easy. You have to remove the screw to take it out. So that's an added feature, like for kids playing around, like. So it's just like you slide into the groove and you like push it back in. So that's the interlude line with a wrapped cassette on the top, and this one both wrapped. So we have another motor here. So like I said, like that one is a little bit. This is a normal speed. That one is a little bit higher speed. We kept it to show. Our sun-low motor, as well as soft motors, you can do a tilt mode, which is like you can do an increment mode. Like rather than you're trying to stop, like oh, I want to stop here, like to be exact, we have a tilt mode which you can go increment mode, so it's easy to stop and start. We have an instruction I'll run over how to do that. This one is an interlude line, not wrapped, but the zero gravity. So this one, like wherever you leave it, it stops, and you just push it back in. So this is the zero gravity, which is like a spring system, which is like say like advanced version of Neo, what we used to have. Neo is like when you pull it and leave it, it goes all the way up. That's all it does, right? So this one you can do it in a roller blind as well as in the interlude. So it's like smooth. I'll let you to feel them like a little bit after. This one is the open roll blind, which means like there's no balance involved. It's only a Velcro fabric valance, which is like just covering the Velcro. There's no metal extrusion on top. You can leave it as open roll, which falls in the back, or you can leave it as an open roll reverse roll, which falls in the front. You can do both. This you can add a layer too. So if customer bought open roll and want to change it to like cover something, you can buy the same fabric as a fabric valance to put it on just a Velcro piece and just like stick it on top. So that's the open roll we have with the fabric valance. Both are zero gravity in the bottom, so you guys can feel it, so it's kept in the bottom. So this one here, it's a 3-inch fascia again, same as this one for the valance wise. But we do have a channel, it's called an L channel, so it's not a full side channel like that, where it encloses it, it's just an L piece, just to cover the light gap on the sides, like people like doesn't want light gaps. So it's like the blind can go front and back because there's nothing in the back covering it, it's only the front. But this L channel, you can place it like however you want. You can place it in the front or you can place it behind the fabric, so it doesn't cover most of the window like when the blind is down. You can see more fabric down. And you can use it in the bottom too, if you want to. But when we use systems like zero gravity or like a Neo, we don't recommend putting a bottom one. The reason is it's hard for you to get to the bottom if there is a channel in the bottom. So that's why we don't recommend putting the bottom channel. It's mainly for motorized, which is easier, cover everything. You don't have to touch the blind again, right? So that one is the exposed bottom bar again. It's Equibar. So this is all the exposed Equibars. We do a couple of different style bottom bars. Like this is like a plain amp, like a pocket. You just make the same fabric as a pocket and just slide a aluminum piece in there, just to weigh it down. So any questions so far? Okay, so this one here, the first one we saw was the open roll, which covers with the angle enclosure for the dual shade. This one is a dual shade cassette itself. So it's a fascia system, but you can put 2 blinds inside it. And this is one of the recent one we launched, I want to say like a year back roughly. You can do 2 blinds inside this valance, that's why the valance is a little bit bigger. But the blinds you can make is the roll of diameter, like when I say like roll diameter, when the fabric is rolled on the tube, we can make approximately 2 3/4 roll of diameter, which is pretty big for 2 blinds. You're thinking about like 2 3/4, 2 3/4 inside that valance. So technically you can put as soon as 15 motor in there for the blinds. The only thing is like you cannot go too long because of the tube size. The tube will be 2-inch tube for soon as 50s. Then you cannot do super long. But if you're doing roughly like say a normal motor, battery operated, rough size about like you can do almost 84 by 84 as a dual shade, rough ballpark. It varies by the fabric, like thickness, weight, and all those factors. But rough size is like 7 feet by 7 feet. You can make a dual shade. Like this can be wrapped as well, or leave it unwrapped, the exposed metal. Same thing. So we have the dual shade. It's like this is a transparent fabric and this is an opaque fabric. There's 2 layers. This is a pair fabric actually. It's a Lima translucent, Lima opaque. And those 2 are Sunlow motors. Like most of them you see in this wall is Sunlow motor. Some motors I have there and a few other spots I'll show you specifically. This is the L channel, where I said like this was placed in the front of the blind and this is placed in the back of the blind. So like you see like, so it's not covering too much of your window when you see it. You see that you're still covering the light which is coming through on the sides. So that's the dual shade. You can do zero gravity, chain, and motor again. So majority of the systems you can do all 3 options, which is zero gravity, chain, and motor. The only system you cannot do zero gravity so far is like this guy here, Illusion. So the one after like, so I'll do the bottom one first. It's easier. No, it's fine. Yeah. So this one is a Sunlow wand system, where it's still battery operated, but it's not like using a remote. It's using a wand system. We have 3 wand sizes, like 24, 39, 40, 54, something like that. And it's programmed. You just touch and go, like its limits are set, all those are standard. Same concept, like you charge it 3 to 4 hours roughly, which will last you 300 cycles. All those battery motors you saw so far, it's all the same. Like you charge it full charge, plus or minus 300 cycles you're looking at. This one's with the trim, that's why we left it a little bit down so you can see the trim. But this is a 4-inch fascia, which is wrapped valance on it. So One about that is like, so that's the Atlas, which we call them bottom up system, where the blind goes from the bottom to the top instead of coming from top to down. That can be only motorized, no manual, and we offer them only in low voltage or line voltage, no battery operated. The reason being is, I'll show you number one. So you can see there's the two wires connected to the bottom bar, which is the spring system, where the blind is holding taut by the two springs which is connected on the top box. Otherwise it'll be like sagging down, right? So this is the same concept we use in the skylight systems too. So when you go blinds like this way, it's the same concept. The only additional thing will be like a track coming in the way. So it's like holding the blind like flat, not like it's sagging down. The reason we said no batteries on these guys is like because these are pretty heavy tension springs, which is a constant force on the motor and the blind, so it'll deplete the battery fast. And we don't, when you're doing skylights, we don't offer battery because it's going to be so much arc, like heat in there, so it's like not good for batteries when you're running with the temperature on them. So it's only low voltage or line voltage, but we can do, because we can do line voltage, we can go wide. We did like recently, like 10 feet wide by 9 feet high as a bottom up. So it's like a front living room, like just cover the whole living room window, which can be mounted like the bottom blind where it's coming from, that's the same as a vision. So whatever we can do in vision, like say 5 colors, bottom bars, all those same goes with the vision. The only extra part is like the box, which is connected with 2 springs connected to your bottom bar. That's the difference you're looking at. So
What's the size of the box up there?
it's roughly 2.5. I want to say.
And the bottom one's 3?
3.25.
There's no small ones.
Correct. So we have one size bigger actually, not smaller. So the 4-inch, we call them 3-inch vision and 4-inch vision. That's a 4-inch vision. That's like 4.25 roughly. That's 3.25. That's the smallest cassette in the bottom. But when I get to vision, I'll explain you. The vision is good is like we can make it as 2-side metal or all 4-side metal. We can do multiple options in them. I'll explain you in that board actually when I get to it. But it has to be vision in the bottom, and it's only low voltage or line voltage. And the bottom box is the top box is only one size, but we have different colors: white, anodized, black, and linden. I want to say all 4 colors. Yes.
The black wire there along the right side, is that fully exposed all the time, or do you have like a cover?
So that black wire is just for the powering the window. So if you run an electrician and run a wire in the bottom of the window, you won't have any wire there.
Oh, you won't.
So we ran like our old system used to be in the top, so we ran the same wire down to there. But if you ran a wire like to your sill or like to the floor or wherever you're mounting, closer to the bottom, then you don't have any wire exposed except the 2 white wires you're looking at. But those like nylon cable look super thin. It's not like that visible. The black one is just for power. So if you run a wire power like other ways, or you say you run a wire from here to a receptacle, you will see that wire, but you don't have to run a wire. So either one of the other options, low voltage or line voltage.
9 voltage, so you said?
Yeah, 120 volts, so it's reciprocal, yeah, you can plug it in. Yeah.
What's the minimum mounting depth for the dual shade?
For the dual shade, if you want to fully flush, it's shy of 5, 4 3/4. So when we made it like a little bit narrower, but a little bit longer. Correct.
Staggered, right?
Correct. So there is different configurations. I'll show you the bracket when we walk. It's easier to understand with the bracket than seeing like this. There are multiple configurations you can do. The front one reverse, back one regular, or both reverse, both regular. We can do multiple variants. If you do the front one reverse, the only thing is you have to put the fascia upside down. Otherwise, the blind will be touching the fascia. So instead of going like this, it'll be like the other way around. Like so, the small piece goes on the top of the bracket, not the bottom. Which you can do it in fascias too. 3-inch fascia, 4-inch fascia. Say you have a crank handle, or like you have something in the way, like in the sill. You want to make the blind fall the other way, you can. Just reverse roll it and put the fascia the upside down. Like it's easy. You cannot do a reverse roll only on the compact or curved cassette because the cassette is curved in the front, it's going to rub on it, which is not recommended for the fabric on. But any other system you can do it as a reverse roll or regular roll. Same goes to vision too. Even Atlas or regular vision blinds, you can do reverse roll or regular roll, both. It works on both. The main difference is on the fascias. When you notice it, there's no more notching for us. Like the design we made is like the fascia, there's no more notching. Wherever the chain comes down without disturbing the fascia. The chain divider, the piece which goes through the chain, is designed that way so like the chain runs smoothly without disturbing the fascia. So you don't have to notch anything left or right or they forgot to notch it, like all those things are gone now. The only thing is if you run the chain a little bit wrong, say for example, the fascia won't snap in. So you will know whether it ran properly or not. I'll show you a piece, probably easier. So any questions on the one, Atlas? Anything like that? Okay. The last one you have there is it's a small, simpler system. It's called Aria, which is only a Neo system. There's nothing else you can do, like no chain, no motor, no zero gravity, nothing. Just a Neo system. We offer them in only white and anodized, 2 colors, no other colors. It's a spring system, so it's an old Neo style. You just pull in, leave it, it goes and stops all the way on top. But you can adjust the limit easily. To adjust the limit, it's really easy. So you have to pull the blind out and so say I can't reach the window like tall or something like that. So when you install it, wherever you're leaving, that's your limit. So it doesn't have to be like modified or anything like that. If I leave it like here, every time I pull it, leave it, that's where it's going to stop. Like this. So it doesn't go more than that. So you can modify on site easily, like you don't have to do multiple things. But because it's only one small profile and those stuff, you cannot do a big line in it. You can do up to like roughly 54 by 54 in that ballpark, not like super wide or super long. It's for small windows mainly, like they just.
Windows, perfect.
Yeah, so that's the special system like we offer, like a Aria. Yes.
What do you recommend if somebody wants a blind system on a door that's operating?
So a lot of people does Aria too. When they do Aria, like we have something called the M hold down, which is like a 2 plastic clips we put on the bottom, and the bottom bar will clip onto it. So when you open the door and close it, it doesn't dangle around the blind. It locks into place with the 2 clips. But because that's the smallest profile we have, that's what people like on the doors. Or you can do an open roll blind, just reverse roll it. That'll be the smallest. But if you do anything else, it'll be a big profile, which kind of sometimes avoid you to open the door fully.
What if they want motorized?
You can do open roll motorized, not in the cassette. So open roll will be an option. The next smallest cassette we have is the compact cassette, which is 3 inch, roughly 2 and 5/8 roughly. That would be the size you're holding into.
Can that accommodate like about 88, like a garden door, 88
Um,
inches long?
88. It depends on fabric again. Like
Okay, so
some
it's-
fabrics it is doable, yes.
Okay.
For example, like a boardwalk or lima, like those fabrics are doable in that because those are thin fabrics. When you're doing opaque fabric with the blackout rubber, 88 is probably stretching too much. I want to say 60 or 65 in that ballpark if you are doing opaque fabric. Some fabrics are doable. It doesn't matter what your width is, like 30 or 50. That's the same thing for me. The length is where it affects the correct.
So, question is,
Yes.
so if you were placing an order online and everything else,
Yes.
and you pick the heaviest fabric and the biggest line,
It won't show you that cassette.
it's not, oh, okay.
So when you go on it, it shows you only this cassette when you go like that case.
Okay, okay.
So that's why I said like you don't have to like worry that it's going to allow me or not. When you select it, if the size is doable, it will show you that cassette. Otherwise, it will show you directly this cassette starting from. So it's that's feature we did in online. So it's reduces a lot of confusion like whether we can do or not. Like say if you select Aria, you can't pick a chain or motor in it. It'll say Aria. That's all it can do technically, right? So any questions so far other than this?
I have a question.
Yes.
I apologize if we were late, but this one here, is this a room in a specific fabric or what kind of fabrics?
In our collection, not all the fabrics are doable with Roman, but we have like in our price guide, we have a list of fabrics, everything what we offer, and we mark which one you can do Roman or which one you cannot do Roman.
Okay,
But it's Roman, we have manual and motorized as well. The manual you don't have it here, which comes with the safety shield again. But the profile is a little bit smaller, the cassette. The motorized one is a little bit bigger, you can see a little bit. You can see the cassette is a little bit big. And we make a hole here for a reason, which you can access your programming button on the motor. That's why we make a small hole in there, which is covered anyway. But the chain operator one is like half the size of that, like actually, the cassette. So it's not a big profile, it's a small profile. Yeah.
Go ahead. For the Roman shape, right, for
Yes.
motorized option, what is the minimum inside that you require?
Minimum in the width or the installation?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanna say 2 and.
With the motor, with
Yeah.
the,
The reason is the cassette is this
One.
big, but the mounting bracket where you connect to is like, it's only like this, so it's like 2 inches, 2 and a quarter. That-
including the, battery one.
So battery one, if you're putting it right behind the cassette, then you need a little bit more than
That's
the space you have.
right.
If you want to do battery behind the cassette and the cassette, then you're looking at 4 inches roughly.
Including the battery.
Correct.
And
If you're
so-
putting the battery back and the cassette in the front to cover everything, you're looking at 4 inches.
4 inches.
Yes. But the battery you can put it like sideways, horizontally, any way you can put it, as long as connected together, you're good.
The zero gravity,
Yes.
what's the maximum width and height?
So, zero gravity on the roller shade, the reason why we did is like 120 by 109. It's it's 10 feet by almost 9 feet. We did on a roller shade, no problem. On interlude, there is a restriction though, like, you can go up to like roughly 84 inches, 80, 84. But think about it like this, like you can't even reach more than 84 anyway. It's more than 7 feet you're looking at then, right? So, but roller shade, we can go wider, 10 feet, no problem. Interlude, we have a general restriction where the fabric is only 110. That means we can do blind only 108 or 107. That's the maximum size blind we can make on the width. The zero gravity, you're looking at 84 by 84 in that ballpark for the interlude. So again, plus or minus 5, roughly ballpark, based on the fabric and other options. But the roller shade, we can do a lot wider shade with the zero gravity, no problem. When we walk back, I'll show you that we develop a clip on it, so you can put a clip on it, and a wand comes with it, so you can reach up and down, only on the roller shade, not on the interlude. Because the interlude style is different on the bottom bar, there's nothing you can connect to and like a lot of other complications in there. But roller shade, even is a little bit higher, you can push it with a wand and pull it with a wand. Like, there's a small clip, you can put it on site, even you bought the blind before, and you can just put the clip on now, use it up and down, no problem. Because it's a easy pull and push, right? So it's just a wand will do up and down, no problem. Any other questions?
A Roman blind question, is
Yeah.
it as high up as it can go, is it as tight as it can go?
So the one modified you can do is, you can connect the bottom to the last bit too, but that'll be the lowest you're looking at though. So it's like 12 inches, based on the length, roughly 12 inches is what you're looking at from the top, at least you're looking at.
You
when
have
it's
any
piled up.
options for how wide those things are, sorry.
Those are, because of the law modified, we have to go 6 inches apart. We used to do 8 or 10 inches before, now it's a 6 inches because of the carb restriction we're having. So it has to be 6 inches, that's why it's like more bunches you're looking at than before.
I have another question for you. So this is a vision system, right? That goes top down.
Correct. So vision is a separate system. We use a vision a part of a bottom up. So
So the question is that you have exposed, so you have 2 exposed,
Cables.
strings or cables,
Correct.
right? This is only for these skylights or it can be done on windows as well?
it can be done. So these we usually do windows, which is the
Okay.
top down, bottom up. I do have a skylight. When I walk back, I'll show you. It's like literally like I think 30 by 90 inch skylight we have. The reason is like this has a lot of tension. Even with me like with 2 hands, I cannot make a loop on it.
Okay,
Technical.
yeah, that.
Like those ones are free hanging cards. That means you can make a loop out of it easily. That one
So this complies.
you cannot track.
Okay.
Correct. So the last one, the blind, as a blind, we have is the vision blind. So that one is a manual operator. Couple of highlight features we have in the Vision is like, first one is like it's fully enclosed system. Either you can do it as a front and return, or you can do front, return, back and top as well. So it's fully enclosed cassette. It's ready to install. You put the bracket, you snap in, done. The bottom bar can be used to pull the blind down. So none of the other blinds, except zero gravity, you cannot pull a blind down to pull it down. Vision you can. So you just pull the, even though that big blind, I can pull it like with the ease actually. Like that, no problem. So you cannot take it out, obviously. You can pull it down though, like with a chain operated blind. And we can have chain on both sides, left and right. So if it's a wide one, like you can see the chain is on both the sides. Right. So that one is with a P clip on it now, because Vision is our more selling feature on the commercial area rather than the residential. Two reasons is like we cannot wrap the valves. It's a metal exposed, and it's like a square cassette, nothing fancier like a curve. That's the main reason we sell it as a commercial product rather than residential, but we can do residential too, Vision blinds. Vision you can do motorized, chain, or you can do neo, which is like the same concept of this RVR style. So you pull and leave it, it goes up, and you cannot do zero gravity in it, but you can do a neo, which is a chainless option for Vision item. So the chain, we put both the sides if you want to, but if you don't like in the future, you can just cut the chain out, like throw the one chain out, you can still use the other chain, no problem. If you cut both the chains, you can pull the blind down, you cannot take it out though, if it's a chain operated blind. That's a couple of highlight features we have on the Vision. Any size more than 30 inches on a Vision comes with a spring system in it. It's added in the cost already, so it's not like extra charge for you for the lift assist. So for this size blind, if you don't put any springs in them, it's going to be a little bit hard for you to pull. But this one I can just do with the 2 fingers like that easily, like, and there's no price, almost. Because it has a spring inside, so it's inbuilt in our system. The reason being is like 30 inches is the spring size, 27 is our spring size. So you cannot do a blind smaller than that to put a spring in it. Any size more than 30, you will have a spring in it and it'll be easier for you to lift and pull it down.
And those are good for like commercial.
We sell more in commercial, but we do in residential too. So it's fully enclosed cassette. Some people like the look of it, like rather than they like a cassette, but it varies by people.
And that Vision series, does that come with a cassette or you can do open roll?
So you cannot do open roll. You can do front only, or front and return, or front and return and back, or front and return back and top. You can do multiple configuration. The price for the front and return is same. If you add back, it's one charge, and if you add top, it's another charge. So it's like 2 extra charge for the back and top. But most of people who does it, they do front and return, like almost like a fascia loop of it, where the blind comes out.
And is that included in the price when you do it?
Correct.
online?
So the front and return is already included in the price, so you don't have to select it.
Perfect.
But if you want back and top, you have to add a charge to it. So the side channels are the L channels. You can do it in Vision, fascia. Any profile you have a flat bottom, like you can do a side channel or L channel. Where if you're doing this cassette, like the side channel is not going to sit nicely because it's fully open in the bottom. The side channel is not going to sit nice. So we don't recommend doing a side channel or L channel on the cassettes. But if you're doing outside mount and you're doing a few other different configurations, you can put a side channel on it if you want.
What gives you the better light blockage if you put side channels between cassette or fascia?
Fascia, 100%. Like the reason, like it's like it has a bottom some lip, and the side channel starts exactly where the lip is. So like it has a nice block. But again, like some jobs we have to do a few things around. Like so the wall is not straight. My side channel is perfectly straight. It's a metal extrusion. So I put against it. It's still going to get a light between the side channel and the wall, right? So it's like unless you're doing outside mount, there's going to be some seepage coming in either side or like a little bit on top of like here. There might be, because it's never like the perfect, unless you're doing it in mullion. Mullion is usually pretty good. Drywall or wood, you have a wood bowing and those stuff, it is going to be there. If you're doing outside, it's a little bit better for blackout.
I was just gonna say, you're talking.
Oh. Okay, so the last I have is the vision board, which I want to show you. So you have a three and a, we say 3 1/4, to be exact, 84 millimeter to be exact, and this is 120 millimeters, so it's like close to 4.5 in the ballpark. So the configuration, like I said, this is the front only. That's why you see the full blind on the back side. This is front and return, but this return is like it's in the back side because the fabric is falling reverse roll in the front of it. And this one is front return and the back cover. So usually when they do atlas and those stuff, because it's on the floor, they want to cover like most of them, so only the fabric comes out of it. But when you're going on a ceiling, like or a wall mount, you need only the front and return because the top is covered by ceiling, and the back is probably window frame or something you have. You don't need a back and return, back and top. This one is fully enclosed, so you can see all side covered except the one opening where the fabric is coming out. And these are the springs, we use them inside, like I said, anything more than 30 inches. The reason being you'll be able to pull the bottom bar, it's like the clutch doesn't have any breaks in them. Usually all these clutches will have a break in it, that's why it holds the blind down. But this one is holding down because the spring still against force it, so it's why the blind is not falling by itself to the floor, but you'll be able to pull it down easily. These are the so when you get a blind which is like less than 30 inches, for example, it won't have a spring like this, it'll have only this, which the small spring here is the brake actually. So it doesn't allow the blind to fall down, but you will be still able to pull it using this. Like it's not easy, it's not gonna be easy as this one, it's gonna be a little bit harder because it doesn't have a spring in it. But so except this color, like this color is discontinued, but we have the 5 colors available. The caps and those stuff are matching, so it's not like white versus other colors we are using, so it's all color coordinated. So the way you're mounting it, it's like it's a straightforward clip-in, right? So you have a mounting bracket like this, say like a decor style mounting bracket or cassette style mounting bracket. You screw it in, and there's a small extrusion on both the sides on the top. The good thing I'm mentioning this is like you don't have to be exact spot where you need the bracket to be. You can play between almost like a couple inches, like away left to right. You can mount it, then you snap in. You don't have to be precisely mounted. For open roll and fascia, you have to have the bracket exactly where it's supposed to be, otherwise the blind is short or big or whatever that is. For the cassette, compact and curved cassette and vision is the 3 products. So you can mount the bracket a little bit off anywhere you want almost. Then you can snap it. If you get the full top cover, you can put the bracket like here and here. If you have cases like say, I have a window, like I want to mount it, but I don't have anything to mount on the corner, but I can mount in the middle and the side. So what do? I can do a cassette or a vision, I can do it with the top cover. Then I can put a 1 bracket here, 1 bracket here. I don't have to put anything there. It depends on how far you can go though again. So if you have 100 inch, I can put 2 with 40. The 60 is remaining, that's not recommended because most of the weight is on that side. But anywhere halfway or the end, you can put the brackets and mount it.
Do you have side mount brackets for interlude and illusions?
So, yes and no. The reason is the cassette, the brackets we give them, there is a width affiliated to it. Any size less than 60 inches, say, we give only 2 brackets for you. Anytime it goes more than 60, we give you 3 brackets because it's going to require the wider the shade gets, it's like so 0 to 62, 60 to 96, 3, 96 to 120 is like 4. That's what we give you. So anything less than 60, technically you're putting only 2 brackets. That means I can do a lateral mount. I can give you L brackets like this way, where the bracket is connected here. You will be able to mount it. But if you go more than 60, lateral mount, you're going to only put 2, which is not recommended because it's going to be not heavy enough to hold the line.
Yeah, I understand.
So less than 60, yes, it's doable.
Yeah.
But a couple of reasons like your light gap is going to increase because I put an L bracket here this way. That means it's almost like a 4-inch L bracket on each side. That's going to add up to your more. And the cassettes will be the one of them like where you get like a little bit more light gap compared to the others because you have caps on, you have internal brackets, you have all those that add up. But the fascia will be like almost like you can say because our open roll, there's 2 brackets on sides and you snap them. So there's no extra components involved in it.
So suggesting open roll or fascia would be a better option. But
Absolutely.
Then,
And those you don't need lateral mount brackets. The same bracket you can use as open roll or lateral.
So then we are not talking about interlude and illusion.
Correct. So there is future speak again. There is a flat profile coming out with Interlude. We're working on it.
Okay.
Not in M2. Like you're looking at a few months, obviously. But there's a flat profile, and it can do dual shade, like actually like one of our dual shades.
With lateral brackets, that's what you're saying?
Well, lateral dual shades like a fascia, so you can do lateral, no problem.
Oh,
You
okay,
just do cap with the covers on. That's why I said flat profile. You can do lateral mount, no problem.
okay.
I just right now with the dual shade, what we have now, you can do a illusion blind in the front and roller in the back, no problem.
Okay,
So silhouette in the front, silhouette or illusion, whatever people call. So illusion in the front and the roller in the back. We can do it now, and we have one in the other room which we are going to go to.
and then we can also use, side channels. if we
For the
use
roller blind, yes.
in dual shape.
On the back one only.
Yes,
Yes,
on the back.
you can, no
right?
problem.
But with that side channels, you can still use illusion or interlude in the front.
Correct, but you can't put a side channel on them.
No, of course.
It's only, yes, you can, no problem. Yes. Reason being is like the law they passed now. It's chain exposed as a loop. It has to be 44 centimeter. That's what they're bound to. Correct. This one, when I say 40 centimeter, when you convert it, it's going to be like 17 inches, roughly in the ballpark. So you will see 7, like 14. They include this 1 inch here too. So it's like it's a loop they call, right? Not only the front.
Total,
Correct.
the total.
Correct. So for our systems, it slowly varies a little bit up and down. We'd say 5.5, 6 inch to 7 inch in that variance. The reason is because of the cassette size and all those stuff, it changes the height a little bit differently. But you're looking at 6 or 7 inches roughly. Well open. It has to be that.
It's just,
Right. I'm not going to say like you can remove it on site, but it's obligated to get out from the factory like this.
Whatever the customer.
Whatever the customer wants to do, they can do it themselves. So
Yeah.
the reason that's why I'm going to sell it.
Yeah.
And the same thing is like when I said like there's a connector piece goes with every single blind, every single wood safety shield, so they can put a screw in it. That's the latest update on a lot. They call it a kid can go and pull this out without a tool. So now we're putting this connector with the screw on it. That means kid cannot pull out without a tool. That's the difference you're looking at now. But otherwise, this connector is used to do a long blind, say like 120. The plastic extrusion we get is 10 feet. It's 120. So you can do one full piece 120 if you want. But like I said, if you're having a patio door or floor to change, you don't want a one piece, then you have to go to the top or the bottom. So if you make it as 2 pieces, then you use a connector to join them with a screw. So then you leave it down, so you don't have to hold the thing up like to when you're operating it.
That's a good idea. No, that's a good idea, to split it.
Right. So chain wise, I just want to quickly update is like on the interlude and illusion blinds. Interlude blinds we don't put stop balls. When you put stop ball to limit the chain, like the shape is not going in or come out. The stop ball doesn't affect the safety shield. Like I said, you can use any size stop ball, like 3/8 stop ball. We use big size, which goes through and runs fastly. The connector piece, when you connect the chain on, like say you have to short of the chain or long of the chain, if you put a connector piece, interlude is not going to work. The reason is interlude has to be a loop chain. It cannot have anything on the way because it runs more than what it required. Because think about like you have 2 layers of fabric. That means double the time of your height. That has to go to the window, right? So that's why you can put a stop ball and interlude line. Same as illusion, like depends on what size chain you get. Like if you select it like online, like you have options to pick the chain size. Like say 19-inch loop, 29-inch loop, 39-inch loop. I don't know why they bought 9 in there. So 19, 29, 39 instead of 10, 20, 30. But that's a size loops is set. You can do a custom size, no problem, on roller shades. The reason is then we connect them. If it's a metal chain, a stainless steel chain, we open the ball and we connect them, so there's no connector piece involved in there. That means I can do any size I want, no problem, on a metal chain. On a plastic, if I have to connect it, it has to be a cylindrical connector where it's going to block your operation when you're going long or short.
What do you recommend is stronger, the plastic chain?
The life, definitely on stainless steel. But like the 2 reasons, like the safety shield comes white and black. So you can do a white plastic chain or a black plastic chain. The other thing I've noticed it and I've heard from people is like when you use plastic chain, it's a little bit quieter. The reason is it doesn't like make a little bit sound you're getting from the chain rubbing on the plastic. Plastic on plastic is a little bit quieter. Not some people will notice, some people will not notice. But life-wise, definitely stainless steel, which will last you longer for sure. No doubt on that. Either way, you put a pickle or you put a safety shield, just make sure like you're not putting too taut on the bottom, so it's not like, the reason is like, it'll break the chain like in the usage, so leave a little bit like room like this, like so it's not like, it's easy to run through. So, after this, I'm just going to see quickly, you want to take 5 or 10, like then we'll just, I'm going to take half a batch just to like show other items and take a factory tour. The other half will be doing online ordering, then I'm going to swap them out.